15. Aurora. I know I've already thanked you, but I'm so grateful for this. Cherry squeals, wrapping me in a tight hug, swaths of black hair almost suffocating me. Though I just tighten my arms around her because I'll happily lap up the love. You do realize I was the one who suggested you to her, right? Wyatt scoffs from where he's carefully pouring creamy peach paint into several trays for us. Honestly, it was kind of sweet how Wyatt immediately thought of Cherry, looking for ways to help her out. Even if he likes to play his usual act of indifference, I see how much he cares for her. I hadn't realized until she told me the other day that he helps pay for materials for her college course when her money doesn't stretch far enough. It makes me realize even more why having the ranch is so important to him. No wonder he was so annoyed about me wanting to sell the place. Still, Cherry's plans for the guest houses are a bit more complicated than whatever Auntie Grace quickly put together, so to keep everything on schedule, we're all chipping in when the contractors aren't here. Like painting the walls that were going to stay wooden but have now been plastered. But we've kept some with feature walls of the original wooden paneling to create a light yet rustic feel. And that means spending my weekends and evenings with Wyatt, as well as my daytimes. Not that it's a problem, really. It's just that I'm having to work a little bit harder against my healing ego and not look too far into each time Wyatt smiles at me, flashing those dimples instead of his usual scowl. Or give too much thought to the way my core heats each time he accidentally touches me. Or let the deep, husky voice saying I'll find a way to rum you, princess, stay in my head for too long. I'm sure it's just another challenge the universe is sending me, a test to see how well I'm concentrating on what really matters, like healing and focusing on me, and getting that inspiration back, and building an amazing new business venture, as opposed to falling for another guy who will undoubtedly break my heart when I'm still fragile. But I'm not falling for Wyatt, at all. I just mean that it's easy when you're healing from heartbreak to be led astray. And to prove that I'm not interested in him, I've made myself look extra resistible this evening with a baggy white t-shirt which pretty much covers my old, washed out gym shorts. My waves are messily shoved into a low butt, half of them hanging out to signal I'm not dressing up for anyone here tonight. Besides, as Cherry's not working at Duke's tonight, she's helping out and can act as a buffer for any unwanted tension. The kind that felt electrified between me and Wyatt when he had me pressed against the deck last week. The kind that still seems to linger whenever we're together, which feels like most of the time. I kind of regret roping the ranchers into morning yoga every day now, because it takes me a while to cool off from the way my body buzzes as Wyatt watches me stretch with eyes full of dark wonder. Once Cherry releases me, she waltzes over to her brother and grabs one of the paint rollers beside him. Yes, brother. Don't worry. I appreciate you too. Does your ego feel better now? Wyatt sucks in a long breath, eyes closed before glancing at me, ignoring Cherry. I reckon we'll get just as much done without her here, you know? Gasping in fake pain, Cherry knocks Wyatt on the head with her paint roller, eliciting a curse from him before he shoves her. I can just see one of them putting their foot in a tray of paint and slipping or getting paint over the newly fitted kitchen counters. In hindsight, maybe we should have covered those with plastic as well as the floor. Children, I holler, failing to hide my amusement. Wyatt's just about to give Cherry a second shove after she swung the paint roller at him and missed, but he halts, sighing and stepping away. He crosses his arms with a pout, midnight eyes seething at me, like I'm some killjoy. I hate to imagine what you're like when Hunter's around. I just shake my head at him, a bemused giggle escaping. Cherry holds her hands up in surrender, paint roller swaying. Okay. How about I get out of the way and start on the bedroom while you guys do in here? Happy the usual shrug and grunt comes from Wyatt before he picks up another paint roller and dips it in the tray. Cherry takes that as a yes and gives me a wave, then grabs a tray and the sage green can of paint she picked for the bedroom and heads out the living area. There goes my buffer. It's fine. I'm a strong, independent woman who can separate myself from my distractions so that they don't separate me from my goals and the life I want. Bolstered by my internal pep talk, I pick up the last paint roller and smother it in paint from the tray, watching the gray material soak up the peachy liquid. The sound of it splattering and squelching against the wall as I roll it on is oddly satisfying. In fact, watching the paint strokes slowly cover the walls, white plaster melting into early evening sunset peach, is incredibly therapeutic. Whatever acoustic music Wyatt's playing through his speaker only calms me more, and I fall into a blissful rhythm of spreading paint across the walls, unaware of the time passing. I think Wyatt must feel the same way, because he's been silent the whole time, dark eyes locked intently on the roller as he finishes off the wall he's working on. I try not to let my eyes linger too much on the way he has muscles shift under his thin grey t-shirt. Wyatt's phone chimes loudly over the speaker, making me yelp and almost drop the roller. That teach me for staring. Jesus, Aurora. Calm down, it's just a text. Wyatt scolds me, angled face all pinched before he whips out his phone. It was loud, I retort, not liking the way his face hasn't softened since he unlocked his phone, ignoring my reply. The screen's light reflects in his eyes, only highlighting the discontent lingering in them. It makes me wonder if the text is from his ex, the one he said sometimes checks in on him. But when something almost akin to realization descends on his features, mouth curving, cheeks and brows lifting, I stupidly hope it's not her. Everything okay? I ask, worrying my lip. Yeah, he laughs, pocketing his phone and running a hand through his loose dark curls. He waits a second before finally looking at me, making me feel so on edge for no reason. Why is my heart beating so fast now his midnight eyes are locked with mine? The council said yes. The retreat can officially go ahead. If I thought my heart was already racing, then now it feels like it might explode. I knew the meeting on Monday had gone reasonably well. The 6 middle-aged Willow Ridge residents that made up the council seemed far more receptive to the idea than Wyatt had prepped me for. Especially now I've had 12 influencers interested in visiting, so we've decided to do a second trial 2 weeks after the first. I think I've been so caught up on everything else that I hadn't realized what the meeting actually signified. Though, I've been following my usual advice to focus on the small steps as opposed to the whole staircase. Market the retreat, get friends to come and trial it, plan out activities, decorate the guest houses, organize the decking to be built by the lake for lakeside yoga sessions, order an extra horse riding gear for lessons and trails, and so on. But now I'm staring up, overwhelmed by the length of the ascent. This feels bigger than the Nightshade Mountains encompassing the ranch. If the retreat happens and it's successful, then it could become permanent. And so would my time here at Sunset Ranch. I'd be living in Willow Ridge permanently. Is that why Wyatt looked disappointed? But then he smiled. I'm not sure if I'm ready for. Aurora, did you hear me? Wyatt steps forward, brows drawn in with concern. His eyes keep flicking between mine, but I'm struggling to move. I haven't frozen like this since I caught Jake. Yeah, I'm clutching the paint roller so tight my knuckles hurt. There's so many thoughts swirling through my head right now. All I can do is try to concentrate on keeping my breathing steady, despite the fact that my heart is rattling against my chest again. Wyatt quickly drops his paint roller back in the tray and returns to prise mine from my hands, his leather and pinewood scent diffusing through the smell of paint. He gently unfurls each of my fingers from the roller, keeping hold of my hand as he lowers it to the ground and stands back up. The heat of his skin against mine draws my attention to where we're touching, where his thumb is gently stroking over my knuckles. Back and forth, constantly. What's going on in that head of yours? His voice is like distant thunder, a deep rumble that reminds you that you're safe and warm inside. I really appreciate the way he's not just asked if I'm okay, giving me an easy way out by just saying, yeah, I'm fine. I take in a shallow breath. I'm suddenly really scared. Wyatt's fingers pulse against my hand. Searching charcoal eyes behold me, so still and focused. Opposite to how my mind feels right now. That's understandable, he admits, lips twitching into a brief smile. I think he's going to leave it there when silence drags between us. I know he's not usually into discussing his emotions and all that, unlike me, but he squeezes my hand again. What's scaring you in particular? Talmos missed the way he glances at my lip when I bite down on it. If this all works, then I might stay here. It's a big change, and I don't. I'm not sure if I can do it. I've never run a retreat before. A trial run is a lot easier than a full-blown business. What if it's all too much? Wyatt steals another inch of space between us. I can feel the warmth radiating off his body now, and I have to stretch my neck up to keep my eyes locked with his, completely mesmerized by them. When we've been this close before, Vel felt daunted, nervous, exhilarated, but today, I feel safe. No anxiety, just security. Like Wyatt is this shield blocking out the rest of the world, slotting himself between me and the enormous Mountain Pete that is my current dream, so that his looming shadow doesn't seem as frightening. If it's all too much, then you'll find a way to G through it. Just like you have before, Wyatt insists, grabbing my other hand in the process, bones tingling in response. You're smart, Aurora, and probably the most passionate, determined woman I've ever met. You're the kind of person who takes adversity by the reins and rides it. If anyone can succeed in this, it's you. Every word embraces my heart, calming it. I want to lose myself in the swirling night skies of his eyes, in the smoky timbre of his voice. Besides, Wyatt shrugs, letting his smile fully play out, coaxing mine from its hiding place too. You're not alone. You've got me to help you out when things get difficult. We're in this together, right? Business partners? And with that, I'm reminded that I can't get lost in him like part of me wants to. He's right. He's here to support me, yes, but as friends, business partners. Which is how it needs to stay if I want things to run smoothly. It's going to be a lot harder to run away again if things get messy, because I'll have a retreat that needs me, and a home I'm not sure I want to leave just yet. Plus, I need to be able to support myself. I need to pull myself out of any spiral I've gone into, just like I used to be able to do when I evidently believed in myself more. Even if Wyatt's words and soothing touch have made me feel safe, if I get too used to that, what happens if he leaves? I can't always expect him to be my shoulder. Pressing my lips together, I give him a nod and loosen my hands from his. Thanks, Wyatt, really. I know I'm just being silly, I just get in my head sometimes. Asterisk right. His hands stay in front of him for a beat, before he runs them through his hair robotically and clears his throat. Wyatt picks the paint rollers back up and hands me mine. Anyway, I'm scared too. My face scrunches. You are? Oh yeah. A playful smirk flashes as he spins to dip his roller in the tray beside him. The idea of having to see you every day with no end in sight is just terrifying. Such a dick, I say under my breath. I don't know what comes over me next, but in one quick swoop, I shove my roller in the paint and slide it down his back, paint dripping off every inch of him. Wyatt freezes mid-motion, and I smack my hand over my mouth with a gasp as I process what I've just done. Painfully slow, he spins on his heel to face me, eyes molten black. Maybe he's finally calculated his way to ruin me. My vision is blocked by a spongy roller and coat of paint covering me from head to toe. I let out a scream, but it becomes a sputter when paint gets in my mouth, which makes Wyatt howl with laughter. I hate that even though he's done this, hearing him laugh makes my legs go a little weak. Finally wiping enough paint out of my eyes to prise them open, I immediately see Wyatt's creased face and swing my roller at him. He catches it while also trying to jump out of the way. There's a loud squelch as his foot lands in the paint tray. And then we're both falling, paint rollers flying. Wyatt plummets to the floor with a thud, groaning, when I then flop onto him, headbutting his chest. Pain rackets through me from the impact against his solid body, but all I can do is laugh. Uncontrollably, Wyatt too. His arms wrap around me, one hand sifting through my hair, the other seeking the small of my back. Shaking with the tremors of both our laughter, I tip my face up to see his dazed grin. Either he hit his head super hard, or he's enjoying this way too much. Are you okay? I question, aware that he definitely felt the brunt of the fall, with the extra weight of me landing on him. He lightly strokes the back of my head, lips curving higher. I have to fight the urge to close my eyes and sink into him, partly because I don't want to get even more paint on him. Never been happier, he admits, fingers trailing from my hair to my painted jaw, and what the hell is going on? Cherry's voice startles us both as she marshes into the room. Shock sparks in her eyes when I turn and she gets a good look at my face, plastered in peach paint. I'd almost forgotten what a mess I must look, because Wyatt definitely wasn't regarding me like I was. And he still hasn't let me go yet. Confess. Dot. We were fighting, and then, well, we fell. You two are so weird, Cherry chuckles, rolling her eyes. Glad I wasn't walking in on anything more. Part of me wonders if she'd been a few minutes later, even a few seconds later, whether there would have been more to walk in on, but I can't let myself consider that. So instead, I reluctantly peel myself away from Wyatt to carry on painting. Emphasis on the reluctantly.